Hey guys, it's Tristan here from Zebra Invest, and so we've got a cracking little video for you if you're trying to get out there, grow and scale your buy-to-let or BRR portfolio, mainly if you're trying to recycle and pull that cash out and keep going. So I'm sitting down with Simon from Funded Finance, and we're just going to touch on how you can use refurbishment and development loans to kind of really do that and push it a little bit further. So I just said it, I was like, a bridge to let is probably I described probably one of the best ways of doing it. And then I got quickly told that no, that's different. So I'll hand it over to you.
Right, here we go. Okay.
So how can we use refurbishment loans or a bridge to let or something to help?
So we got two sides of the coin, doing the same kind of thing, but not lending us everything that we're after. So we start with a bridge to let. So typically a bridge to let is using one lender. Effectively, the lender is lending up to 75% of the purchase price. In some circumstances, it can be 80% of the purchase price, and then flipping it into a term buy-to-let mortgage. The beauty and advantages of that are that we're going to have one valuer going in. The valuer values the subject property as we start. They also give us an NGDV based on the schedule of works that we'll have asked. I would have asked somebody to provide, so we can send it on to the lender. But in that circumstance, what the lender isn't doing is lending you the funds to actually carry out the work. So typically this would work on a property where the refurbishment costs aren't that high. So you might have a purchase price of 300,000 or 400,000, and you might be spending anywhere between 50 and say £75,000 on the refurbishment. It's slick and it's quick, so it allows you to go off the bridge onto the term product really quick. So it means that the high cost that you see on a bridge that might put you off.
Because usually you end up incurring, obviously you've got your arrangement fee, then when it kind of gets to the end of it, you've got a minimum term to be on it, and if you end up got like some products, most lenders now are a bit more flexible, but if you end up needing to be on it for 6 months, it'll take longer. And then also, inevitably, if you try, and I've tried doing it, you try with, say, for example, like one of your mainstream bridging companies doing the refurbishment or development loan, and then you then try to go to the next one, well, they've got all different set of questions to go all through again, and then one, you kind of like ripping your teeth, you're banging your head against the wall. But
so that's the first one that's slightly easier. It's a little bit harder to recycle your cash fully because we're looking for, if we can, at least 3 ways of increasing or adding value. So that might be finding something that's really in poor condition. We can then bring it from poor condition to new condition. If you can then change maybe its usage to go from, let's say, single let to HMO. And also then if you can add space to it, that's the other one, but it's typically hard to add space on the bridge to let product because the time scale.
Also in that time period, to try and get an extension or anything else.
It's difficult. So if we're going on to do the extension, we might then go on to the next one that Tristan and I first were bashing about, which is refurbishment loans. So typically, but not exclusively, this works where your refurbishment costs are higher compared to the purchase price. So therefore, the lender is going to lend you up to 75% of the purchase price and 100% of the works, assuming that the GDV allows us to have 20 to 25% profit on the back end. It's less cash hungry in terms of for you, but it allows you to borrow more money. That particular lender is a little more open to creative stuff, so they'll typically allow you to use, we can use some vendor finance, possibly, which is one way around it. You can use investor finance, you can use SaaS money in certain circumstances, structured in certain ways. You can use second charges against other properties that you have in a portfolio.
To use that as the deposit.
As a deposit, or if you've got family members that have got equity, we can also use equity in family members' properties to form the deposit. So there are ways of minimising and going in without that 25% deposit as well. But typically, so that lender's
really helping you effectively get as much out of your bang for your buck to go.
That's it. And then, so this particular, those types of lenders are expecting you potentially to be doing loft conversions, single story or double story extensions out the back, creating additional floor space, as long as planning's in place, of course, to increase the value. And the more work you're doing, the easier it is, or the greater the value add the project is. And that allows us on the back end to then exit it. It's also worth pointing out, I forgot to point this one out, Tristan, valuer. We're going to be using the same valuer to go on the way in to value the end value of your project finished at the purchase stage before the refurbishment works have taken place. And when I come to do the remortgage for the exit mortgage, so that's your buy-to-let mortgage, your term mortgage, will be going back to the same valuer that agreed the GDV at the beginning of the project. So you know from the very beginning that you've nailed on where it will value. Yeah.
Well, I think there was one that I did a while ago, and unfortunately went with a different lender the second time round, and unfortunately they downvalued it. But then we had another. We then was like, you know what? We'll go with another lender. See a whole load more fees to try and get around it again. But what we actually did was we pulled out the report from our valuer, gave it to him, and literally just gave him the report. He said, "Well, I can't really question that, can I?"
Exactly. Yes.
But there we go. All right. So, well, if you need to get hold of Simon, I'll drop his little details in the bottom of the description, and then hopefully he can help you out. I hope you've liked this video. If you've got any comments, just drop that in the below, and hopefully you subscribe to this channel, as we've got a fair few videos that we'll be putting out soon. Cheers.